Have you ever been overwhelmed at the thought of starting something new? I'm Dr. Barbara Blackburn, a former teacher and professor, and currently a speaker and author of 40 books, including 2 brand new ones on productive struggle. And I have been overwhelmed many times. And what I find is when you're trying to do something new, it's easy to get overwhelmed. And today I want to talk to you about what to do if you want to start doing productive struggle in your classroom, or if you're already doing it and you want to increase it, but you're feeling a little overwhelmed. And what I'm going to do is give you 3 steps to deal with being overwhelmed. The first thing is to streamline the process. I was talking to a teacher the other day, and he said to me, you know, there's just too much to do. I've got to find a productive struggle task for each student in my class. And I said, whoa, how many students do you have? And he said 28. And I said, you're not going to get a different task for each of 28 students. You're probably going to come up with 3 that your more advanced students can do, your more on grade level students can do, and your struggling students can do. You're probably going to come up with 3 and plan for those. And then he said, but what if I've got one that's just not working for? I said, then you can adjust it for the 1 or 2 that need additional adjustments. But don't try to do everything for everybody. Remember to streamline the process. Second, organize your files. And I cannot stress this one enough. If you are organized, your life will be so much simpler and you will not be as overwhelmed. Now, what I'm going to talk about applies if you use print files, or if you use electronic files, or if you use both. What you want to do is organize them. So for example, I'm going to start with my computer. One of the bookmarks I have is just general information about productive struggle, and I keep those bookmarked in that folder. I don't print all those out. They're not things I need all the time, but if I do need them for referral, I can go back to that. I also keep a folder for each grade level and or subject area that I'm working on the moment. So for example, when I was working on the 612 version of productive struggle, I had folders for middle school and high school, and I had subfolders for math, science, social studies, language arts, and electives. So anything I found that related to those, I filed in the appropriate place. And then when I was writing and I needed an example, I could go back and find it. I didn't want to print all that because I sometimes get overwhelmed with paper. Now, if you want to print things, you absolutely can print them and just put them into file folders like I've described, and that works for you fine. But again, I find that for me personally, I do a lot of electronic filing, and then I just print out key pieces so that my print part is not very much. So making sure you're organizing your files. You also may want files of lesson plans versus ideas for the future. Think about all of the different ways you might want to keep information, and that's how you want to organize your files. And then finally, collect your key resources. And this really links to organizing your files. You want to collect them. Don't assume you'll be able to find them next year. I have spent more time wasting time trying to find something I saw a couple of months ago. So I've learned to bookmark anything. It doesn't cost you anything to bookmark. You're collecting whatever you need. You look at an idea and you say, well, I might use that, but I might not. Go ahead and save it, because in 3 months you may go back to that and say, oh, I could do this with that. So you want to collect those key resources, but again, after you collect them, you want to organize them so you can find them. I also always had a file folder of just miscellaneous. And that's things that didn't fit anywhere else, but I thought I might need them sometime in the future. So that's just another good one to have for you. So now I want you to think about streamlining the process, organizing your files, and collecting your resources. Which strategy would help you feel less overwhelmed in your classroom? And how exactly would you use it? I'd love for you to share that with the comments. I love to read those things and be able to respond to you when I can. So please share which of these would make the most difference to you in your classroom.